Dieting is hard for a lot of people, but I'm here to tell you that most people make dieting much harder than what it needs to be. A lot of underlying habits and mindsets can come together and make weight loss be much harder than it actually needs to be. And yes, changing your habits and your relationship with food can take a lot of time, but at the end, you'll be rewarded with a much greater degree of control over your diet and a much higher chance of hitting your goals and overall success. So in this video, I want to take a look at 4 things, whether they are mindsets or habits or just things that you do that make dieting a lot harder and tell you how to fix them. So let's get into it. The first thing is eating mindlessly. Now, a lot of people snack throughout the day, and the act of snacking is a byproduct of mindless eating for most of the time. Now, when I say mindless eating, what I really mean is you don't put any conscious effort neither in your selection of the food that you're eating and neither in the eating process itself. So you're not aware, you're not present while you're eating. So let's talk about snacking. When you snack, what you usually do is that maybe you're doing chores around the house and you keep passing over a bowl of cashews and you grab a bite each time you're close, or maybe you're working and maybe you have a bowl of chips next to you, and every now and then you just grab a handful. So why did I call this eating mindlessly and not just snacking? Well, because there's nothing really inherently wrong with eating a snack. Even if you were to consume something more calorically dense like nuts or chips, you could still theoretically regulate your portion so that you don't overeat and you stay on track with your diet. The problem with mindless eating is the lack of awareness and control. You might not even have wanted to eat a snack at that time. Maybe you just had a snack 30 minutes ago. It's really just a pattern of see food, eat food. When there is no awareness and control while you're eating, it's incredibly easy for calories and salt and fats to keep piling up. You can easily end up eating 500 or more calories from snacking alone without even realizing it. So how do you fix it? Well, really what you want to do is develop a mindset in which you eat with purpose. To do that, it helps to have at least some sort of structure or plan in your mind. Now, you don't need to follow a full-on diet plan, although that is an option if you want. But having at least some general idea of your diet in your head can help make this process a lot easier. So a general structure of your diet could be something like this. You're going to have a breakfast, then a couple snacks, then your lunch, then you'll have an afternoon snack, then dinner, and maybe a small snack before bed. That's just a rough idea of how a person's daily eating pattern might look like. It doesn't have to be this. It can be something completely different. But whatever it is, you pretty much just eat with a purpose. Are you hungry? Good. You're eating because you're hungry. Are you out to a restaurant with friends? Good. Then you're eating because you're at a restaurant and obviously you're gonna eat. It's not that you're not allowed to eat something unhealthy every now and then. Everybody does. It's just that everything you eat has to have a purpose. There's a reason why you're eating at this time, even if the reason is a craving. Bottom line, be aware when you're eating. Be in the present. Number 2, you're constantly switching up your eating style and eating pattern. This is very common for beginners. People who have never been really involved into managing their nutrition and tracking their foods. When you go online and search for terms like best diet or best way to eat, you're gonna find thousands of different answers. I don't think that any other field compares to nutrition when it comes to how much conflicting information there is out there, as well as to how much misinformation there is to find. And when you overload your mind with all of this conflicting information, you start to get pulled from all of these different angles. Oh, intermittent fasting is pretty popular nowadays. Maybe I should try that. Oh, but maybe I need to stick to small, frequent meals. Keto has some promising results, but maybe I'm eating too much red meat and I should consider becoming a pescatarian. All of these different things. The reality is that a lot of things can work. If we're talking about weight loss and weight management specifically, then calories in versus calories out is the main determinant of how that process is gonna go. So if you find a style of eating interesting and you wanna try it out, at the very least, commit to it. If you keep drastically changing your eating patterns every 2 weeks, then you're actively preventing yourself from forming habits and forming a routine, both of which are vital for long-term success. So let's say you wanted to experiment with intermittent fasting. That's fine. Ease yourself into it and then try to commit to it for at least a few months. See how it goes. Unless it's so difficult for you that you can't even follow it for a few days, at which point, you should consider a different approach. Now, I always recommend people taking their nutritional habits as they are right now. It doesn't matter how unhealthy they are, and then using those as the basic structure for their diet, and then slowly applying positive changes. In my personal opinion, this is the superior way to actually change your nutritional habits. But again, the point is, whatever you do, you need to commit. Don't keep drastically changing your eating patterns every 2 weeks. Now, of course, you can make small, minor adjustments as you go along, but avoid constant, drastic changes if you want to build a permanent healthy diet. Number 3 is having a work/reward mentality with your nutrition. One of the worst mentalities that you can have when you're trying to build a permanent healthy diet is viewing healthy eating as a chore or the work that you have to put yourself through in order to get the reward, which is usually junk food or binge eating, or you get the point. This is a terrible, terrible mindset to have. And unfortunately, for most of us, it starts at a very young age. It's very common for parents to reward their kids with, things like ice cream or candies or chips when they behave, when they do well at school, when they eat all of their veggies. You get the point. So this tendency to reward ourselves with junk food is ingrained in our brains at a very young age. And as a side note, if you are a parent, please don't reward your kid or kids with food, any kind. Now, I'm not saying that you should not give a child a junk food every now and then. Of course, you can do that in moderation, but never use it as a reward. You can use a lot of other methods to reward your kid, like taking them somewhere they like, letting them play video games, just not food. Anyway, this mentality, even in adulthood, is extremely problematic. And I'm not saying that it's not tasty or that you shouldn't be having it, but considering junk food as a reward only makes you crave it more. You're putting something on a pedestal that, in all honesty, it's just not that big of a deal. You're sitting there all week daydreaming about Saturday night when you're gonna sit at home, order a large pepperoni, and gorge yourself until your stomach explodes. See why this mentality isn't necessarily the best? You're making a bigger deal of something than what it actually is. It's a pizza. Yes, it's tasty. You eat it, you move on. And when it comes to healthy eating, you should absolutely never be treating it as a chore. Look, I'm not here trying to convince you that steamed broccoli can be just as tasty as a Kit Kat bar. I'm not delusional. What I am saying is that you should be making a conscious effort to create a healthy nutrition that you can enjoy. There's tons of healthy, nutritious foods that are also delicious. You can use things like herbs and spices, low-calorie condiments, research healthy recipes, use ingredients that you actually like, and even use some higher-calorie ingredients in moderation to create an overall tasty, healthy diet. I'm also not saying that you should be absolutely loving every single food that you eat. I think this sits on the other side of the spectrum. Don't expect yourself to absolutely love every single thing that you're gonna eat on a healthy diet. Now, you should still be able to enjoy everything that you eat. You shouldn't be hating anything. But as an adult who wants to take care of themselves, you're gonna eat some foods that you don't necessarily love all that much from time to time. For example, maybe you don't necessarily love your veggies, but you're gonna eat them anyway. I'd say that from a scale of 1 to 10, if your average enjoyment of your nutrition is at about a 7 or 8, you are perfectly fine. The point is, embrace eating healthy. It's not a chore. Enjoy it. And your reward is feeling and looking a lot better, as well as drastically reducing your chances for most chronic health problems. And junk food, well, that's just something that you enjoy in moderation every now and then because, you're a human, you're gonna eat some junk food every now and then, not some holy grail that you desperately desire. And the fourth thing is trying to eat too clean, i.e. being a perfectionist on your diet. I bet that all of you know at least one person that will periodically get all hyped up about that #healthy lifestyle. You know who I'm talking about. It's the people that are gonna buy new workout clothes, new supplements. They're gonna sign up for a gym and post like 5 times a day on social media. And they'll also completely cut out all perceived unhealthy foods, many of which are probably not even that unhealthy. Their diets will do a 180 and consist mostly of oatmeal, chicken, rice, veggies, the occasional salmon and a piece of fruit every now and then, maybe some blueberries. And what happens is that 9 times out of 10, maybe they'll last about a month, maybe 2 if they're lucky, and then they'll just give up on everything. You see, for those people, a healthy lifestyle comes in cycles, usually lasting for around 1 or 2 months, then going away and then coming back maybe, like half a year later. And then the cycle repeats itself. Perhaps you are that person. If so, then listen up. Having this all or nothing mentality for your nutrition and lifestyle will get you nowhere most of the time. Sure, you might hear that 1 in 1,000 chance of a person doing a complete 180 on their lifestyle, but most of the time this will not work. There is no reason for you to try and be perfect or optimal with your diet. You don't need to be in order to be healthy. And you especially shouldn't be trying this if you don't already have a solid foundation of good nutritional habits to back it up. Instead, focus on how your diet is right now and try and make small steps to improve each time. Take the time to analyze and determine your nutritional and lifestyle habits. Identify the ones that are good and you want to keep, and the ones that are bad and need fixing. Then focus on maybe 1 or 2 at a time. Give yourself the time to get used to the new habits and then change a few more. That is how you get long-term success. The same also holds true for exercising. If you're sedentary and you're not exercising at all and you want to get into exercise, start by doing something small, maybe 1 or 2 times per week. You can even sign up at the gym if you want to, but still, ease yourself into it. Start slow and then slowly build up your intensity and frequency as you go along. Don't try and speed run the process. And yes, this takes more time, a lot more time than doing a complete 180 on your lifestyle. But here's the good thing. This actually works. This is actually a permanent solution that won't keep getting you stuck on that cycle of following a healthy lifestyle until you're not. Allow yourself to have a craving every now and then. Don't quit your social life because you're on a diet. Basically, learn to enjoy things in moderation. Remember, the goal is to have a balanced, healthy lifestyle, not an optimal one. And those were 4 things that, in my opinion, ruin your diet. Were you doing any of these things? Let me know down in the comments. Also, feel free to share your own personal mistakes, maybe to try and help other people from doing them or at least to fix them. If you like the video, then I would really appreciate a like. If you want to see more no-nonsense nutritional videos on how to actually change your diet and achieve a permanent healthy lifestyle, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.